All right, hey everybody, it's me, Lisa, in for another episode of In Vino Veritas. Today I am trying the Murphy Goode Sauvignon Blanc. It very pretentiously calls it the Fumé on the bottle because apparently if it's not French, it's not cool enough. If you recall, I did the Murphy Goode Pinot Noir last week, so I figured let's check this out and see how it goes. I would say that aside from the Pinot Noir, the Sauvignon Blanc is one of my favorite varieties of wine. I like it because it's light and crisp, and it's the perfect drink for a hot summer day because it is so crisp and it's not heavy like beer is. So anyway, let's see what we think of this nice color. Ooh, that's a lot of pear. So a lot like the Pinot Noir, this is really, it's got a lot of fruit flavor. I've got some pear in here, some citrus, even a little bit of apricot maybe, and some peach flavor. So yeah, just some really kind of sweetish, as in sweet sort of flavors, fruit flavors. It doesn't have some of that grassy flavor that some Sauvignon Blancs have. This is something that is probably a crowd pleaser. If you have wine, like people who are picky, they'll probably drink this. If you have people who drink anything, they'll probably drink this. Unless you have snobby people, then they probably won't drink this, but don't invite those people. This actually retails for about $14. So this is an easy kind of Friday night dinner with the friends wine. And yeah, I think this is some easy drinking wine. So I'm gonna get into this a little more, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk some truth telling and stories. Okay, so I'm back with this, and this is very much like the Pinot Noir in that it doesn't take long for it to kind of flatten out and the flavors to just kind of go bleh. It's still okay, it's still totally drinkable, but once it flattens out a bit, it's mostly pear flavor. So, but that's okay because that's nice and light and crisp and summery and all of that. So yeah, I would totally be cool with drinking this. You should know that I'm a little quicker on this because I'm on a diet right now, and so it doesn't take as much drinking the wine right now to get to the truth telling part. So here we are. So speaking of food, I'm gonna talk about a cooking experience I had once upon a time. This was my second year of college, and I decided that I wanted to make pancakes. And it was nighttime, so yeah, I wanted pancakes at dinner. And I grew up with my mother. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she was one of those rare women. She is one of those rare women that makes a lot of things from scratch. That is how we were raised out in the prairie or whatever. So, you know, this is a woman who can whip up a pie in 20 minutes, and it's no big deal to her. The last time I tried to make a pie from scratch, it took me all day. So, so I was in college, thought I knew everything, and I decided I'm going to make pancakes. And not only am I going to make pancakes, I am going to make syrup from scratch, just like Mom does, because the store-bought stuff doesn't taste the same and it's gross. So I'm going to make the homemade kind. So I call Mom, get the recipe, and there's some maple extract and some water and some brown sugar and some regular sugar, and mix it all together and you boil it, and that's how you make syrup. And so I do this, and I am quite the improviser in the kitchen. I have the water, I pour the sugar in, and then I realize I don't have enough sugar. So I go to the brown sugar and realize, oh, I can just make it up with brown sugar. So that's what I do. I pour in extra brown sugar to make up for the white sugar that I don't have enough of, and I boil it all down to basically a syrup, which is how we get the term. And it all kind of dissolves and does its thing. And then I work on the pancakes, and yeah, okay, whatever, pancakes. But then this is where being 19 is awesome, is because you do shit that to this day I can't explain why I did it. But I decided that this syrup that was in the pot had to go in the bottle that I had. And I had an empty regular syrup bottle that I probably ate the syrup, because in my family you don't waste food. But it was empty. And so I decided at that moment that I needed to put the syrup that I just boiled into this plastic bottle of syrup, empty bottle that used to have syrup. Anyway, whatever. And so I was in college. This was my first apartment, and I did not have a funnel. But I am not one to be bothered with details like that, obviously, because I didn't even have enough sugar. So I rummaged through my cabinets, and I found a tall plastic cup, and I said, oh, this will be good enough. I'll just pour it into the bottle. It'll be fine. So I dip it into the syrup that was just recently boiling. I dip this little plastic blue cup into the syrup, and I decide, okay, I'm going to do this over the sink just in case I spill, because I'm careful, right? And I think things through. And so I'm pouring it over the sink, and this boiling liquid starts kind of melting the cup and kind of burning my fingers a little bit. So I do not drop the cup, because I don't waste food, as I already mentioned. And instead, I clutch the cup and to my chest. And of course, the syrup side is this side. So now I have a swath of syrup, not only all the way down the front of my sweatshirt, but all over the sink as well. And my fingers are a little bit singed because that shit was hot. So I think, okay, lesson learned. I'm gonna, use a different method to do this. But first, I'm going to take care of this sweatshirt, because I'm a grown-up and laundry is something grown-ups do. So I take off the sweatshirt, and I go and I soak it in water in the bathroom, because I guess that's what you do to get syrup out of a sweatshirt. And so then I have my t-shirt on underneath, and this was the days of wearing sweats and layers. So I had socks and sweats and, ponytail and so on and so forth. So I get I think it was a coffee cup, but basically a cup that was not plastic. And I carefully pour it into the bottle, and I'm super proud of myself. I almost made it through unscathed. My fingers are a little, maybe my fingerprints are burned off, I don't know. But it's done. And so I very proudly screw on the top of the bottle, and I take my fluffy ass pancakes and I put them on the table in front of me, and I pour the syrup. I open up the little bloop thing at the top of the syrup bottle, and I pour it out like this. And syrup, like I mentioned before, it was boiling 10 minutes ago. It is still very, very hot, and very much like water that's just got a lot of sugar in it. So it hasn't had that time to crystallize or kind of slow down like what it does when it cools off. And so it comes shooting out of the bottle and drenches my pancakes in syrup. And so I panic, of course, because who wants all that syrup? And I lift the bottle like this. Instead of, being calm, I lift the bottle, and syrup goes all the way around the apartment. I'm pretty sure I got some on the ceiling. I know I got some on the wall. And I also got syrup on my shirt, on my sweats, on my socks, on my face right here, in my hair, and all over my arm. And again, it was recently boiling, so that shit was hot. And basically every article of clothing that I am wearing is now doused with a pretty good dose of very, very sticky hot syrup. And so I rushed to the sink and I try to wipe off my arm. And this is where the whole sugar thing starts to become important, because brown sugar is basically like molasses. And so the sugar, the syrup, now that it's exposed to the air and it's not with its buddies, it is thick. And so it is extremely stubborn about being washed off. And so, yes, I've got splotches of kind of second degree burns on my arm and my face. And yeah, so that was a very valuable lesson to you all kids, that you cannot substitute regular sugar with brown sugar. But it was also a very important lesson for me in that, yeah, I should probably have the right tools when I do stuff, but I didn't die and I didn't hurt anybody. I just made a big ass mess. And I will also say that those pancakes, because I made them and I made the syrup, they may have been drenched in the stickiest, most viscous syrup you ever saw, but that shit was good. So to this day, I still don't follow recipes. I have not burned I have burned myself, but that's another story for another day. But I have not been covered in syrup ever again since then. So anyway, drink happy, drink often, and we'll see you next time.